Hello, this is Max. A spy organization enlists a talented youth from the streets into its training program as a global danger arises from a deranged technological genius. Don't forget to subscribe. The film Kingsman, the Secret Service opens with a gripping scene set in 1997. In this sequence, a helicopter approaches a compound in the Middle East. Inside, 4 men are on a mission to capture a terrorist leader. Harry Hart, also known as Galahad, is one of these agents. He uses threats to extract information from the terrorist, who reveals a grenade pin in his mouth. The situation becomes dire as the terrorist is about to activate the grenade. Harry's fellow agent, Lee, makes a heroic move by sacrificing himself to cover the explosion and save his comrades. After this intense opening, Harry and his remaining partners, Merlin and Lancelot, remove their masks, marking the successful completion of their mission. Harry later pays a visit to Lee's wife, Michelle, to deliver the unfortunate news of her husband's death. He presents her with a Medal of Valor awarded posthumously to Lee. Harry also shares a secret code and passphrase, represented by the number on the back of the medal and the phrase "Oxford's not brogues," as a way for Michelle to contact him if she ever needs help or assistance. Michelle rejects the medal. In a touching moment, Harry turns his attention to Lee's young son, Gary, who goes by the nickname Eggsy. Harry presents Eggsy with the same medal, symbolizing the legacy of heroism and duty that he is now entrusted to carry forward. This event marks the beginning of Eggsy's connection to the world of the Kingsman agency. The film transitions to 17 years later in Argentina, where Professor James Arnold finds himself held captive by a group of armed thugs. The situation takes a dramatic turn when there's a knock at the door. One of the thugs answers it, only to be shot by a newcomer, Lancelot. Lancelot proceeds to engage in a fierce fight, taking down all the thugs before helping himself to a drink. However, another knock on the door interrupts this moment. Lancelot opens the door, but he is swiftly dispatched by a formidable opponent named Gazelle, who has bladed prosthetic legs. Gazelle answers the door for her boss, the billionaire Richmond Valentine. Together, they free Professor Arnold from captivity and take him with them. Meanwhile, back in London, Harry Hart returns to the Kingsman organization. He visits a tailor shop that serves as a front for the top-secret Kingsman headquarters. Kingsman is a discreet private intelligence service with roots in British elite society. The organization was founded by individuals who lost their heirs during World War I. Inside the headquarters, Harry meets with Merlin, the tech expert, and their superior, Arthur. They are deeply saddened by the loss of Lancelot and suspect that those responsible for his killing have connections to tragic events in Uganda and Chechnya. This sets the stage for their investigation into the mysterious threat posed by Richmond Valentine and Gazelle. The story shifts back to Eggsy, who is now in his early 20s. He lives with his mother and her new husband, Dean, and they have a baby daughter together. Their living conditions are far from ideal, as they reside in a rundown flat and struggle financially. One day, Eggsy and his friends head to a pub, where they encounter Dean's group of tough associates. These individuals approach Eggsy's table and intimidate him, ordering him to leave the pub. Eggsy complies, but not without swiping one of the Goon's car keys. Eggsy and his friends seize the opportunity to joyride in the stolen car, performing daring stunts. However, their reckless adventure takes a turn when the car's owner exits the pub and discovers his vehicle missing. As they drive away, they inadvertently attract the attention of the police. Eggsy decides to take matters into his own hands and instructs his friends to flee, promising to handle the situation himself. He continues to drive erratically until he collides with another car, prompting him to crash directly into a police vehicle. In the subsequent scene, Eggsy finds himself in police custody after his joyride escapade. A police officer threatens him with a potential 18-month prison sentence if he refuses to reveal his friend's identity. Left alone, Eggsy takes out the Medal of Valor he received as a child, which bears a phone number on the back. He recalls the phrase "Oxford's not brogues," but when he dials the number, he reaches the wrong person on the other end. However, Eggsy is later bailed out by Harry. They head to a nearby pub where Dean's gang confronts Eggsy, menacing him. Harry tries to reason with them, but their leader is disrespectful and calls Harry a granddad. This provokes Harry to take action. He locks the front door and uses the hook of his umbrella to attack the thugs, displaying remarkable combat skills. After subduing the thugs, Harry warns Eggsy not to disclose what he witnessed and promises to release the evidence of Dean's offenses to the authorities. When Eggsy returns home, he faces Dean's anger about the car incident, Michelle tries to intervene but is pushed aside. Harry listens to this confrontation through a microphone he planted on Eggsy's shoulder and threatens to expose Dean's crimes if he doesn't release Eggsy. He also instructs Eggsy to meet him at the tailor shop he mentioned earlier. Following Harry's interference, Dean reluctantly lets Eggsy leave their apartment. Eggsy meets Harry at the tailor shop, where Harry proposes that Eggsy join Kingsman, the secret intelligence service, just as his father did. Eggsy agrees, and they travel to an underground location to meet other recruits on a shuttle. Eggsy makes friends with a girl named Roxy, while a young man named Charlie and his friends mock him. In a parallel storyline, Harry encounters Professor Arnold, who had previously been kidnapped. During their conversation, Arnold suddenly screams in agony, and his head bursts, releasing a strange fluid onto Harry's face. Two thugs then break into the building, forcing Harry to detonate a hand grenade before leaping out of a window. Although he escapes, Harry becomes gravely ill and falls into a coma. When Valentine learns of Arnold's death, he decides to investigate the situation to identify the mysterious assailants. As the recruits continue their training, a dramatic underwater test is conducted. The chamber they are in begins to fill with water, and everyone, except Eggsy, struggles to find air by reaching for the toilet pipes. Eggsy attempts to open the exit door but is unsuccessful. He then swims to a glass enclosure and breaks it, allowing the water to flow into the other room. Merlin, who has been monitoring the situation, praises Eggsy for his efforts but points out that they failed as a team, resulting in the death of one of their fellow recruits, Amelia. Meanwhile, Valentine and Gazelle have a dinner meeting with the Scandinavian Princess Tilda and the Scandinavian Prime Minister. Valentine presents his proposal to combat climate change, which the Prime Minister supports. However, Tilda believes Valentine to be insane and walks away. Later, Gazelle kidnaps Tilda and eliminates the guards protecting her. Back at the Kingsman training facility, the recruits are given puppies to train as part of their training. Eggsy is assigned a tiny pug that initially does not respond to his commands. Over time, they bond and Eggsy names the puppy JB. After Harry's recovery, he, Merlin, and Eggsy investigate further into the mysterious deaths caused by implanted chips. They discover that both Professor Arnold and the Scandinavian Prime Minister had chips implanted in their necks. This leads them to suspect that Valentine might be behind these incidents, especially since he had recently met with the Scandinavian Prime Minister. Harry goes undercover to Valentine's estate to gather more information. During a conversation over dinner, he learns about Valentine's fascination with James Bond movies but gains limited insight into his plans, except for a pamphlet related to a hate group church in Kentucky. In the next training exercise, Eggsy, Roxy, Charlie, and 3 of Charlie's friends are the remaining recruits. Their mission involves jumping from a plane and landing on a designated target. Merlin advises them on what to do if someone lacks a parachute. When one recruit panics and deploys his parachute prematurely, Eggsy takes charge and they all hold hands. In the end, Eggsy, Roxy, and Charlie are the only ones to successfully land on the target circle, eliminating the rest of the recruits. Eggsy's training continues at the Kingsman tailor shop, where he meets Harry and is introduced to various concealed weapons, such as a hand grenade disguised as a lighter, a poison-triggering pen, and shoes with poison-tipped blades. These weapons are designed to be inconspicuous to ordinary people. While exploring the tailor shop, they discover that Valentine and Gazelle are waiting for them in the lounge. Valentine tries on an outfit from the shop, sparking their suspicion. For their next assignment, Eggsy, Roxy, and Charlie are sent to a nightclub to charm a young woman and make her fall for them. However, substances were spiked into their drinks and they pass out. Eggsy wakes up tied to railway tracks, with interrogators trying to extract information about Kingsman and Harry. Despite the approaching train, Eggsy refuses to cooperate. He is saved in the nick of time as he's pulled under the track, allowing the train to pass over him. Upon Harry's return, he learns that Eggsy and Roxy have passed the exam, but Charlie failed and was sent home. Eggsy and Roxy are then assigned their last set of tasks, which involves shooting their pet dogs. Eggsy struggles to shoot his pug, and Roxy's gunshot is heard from the interrogation room. Failing to complete his assignment, Eggsy is sent home by Arthur. Disappointed, Eggsy drives to his home in Arthur's car, but the car mysteriously takes him to Harry's location. Harry explains that the pistol was empty during the test and that Amelia is not dead. She is a member of the Berlin Kingsmen. Meanwhile, Roxy is officially appointed as an agent working for Kingsman. In this crucial sequence of the film, Harry receives a call from Merlin about a suspicious gathering at a church in Kentucky, where Valentine and Gazelle are preparing to activate the signal through Valentine's SIM cards. Once the signal goes live, it causes extreme aggression in all those who have the implants. Harry valiantly enters the church and becomes embroiled in a violent brawl with the infected congregation, who attack each other ruthlessly. He showcases his exceptional combat skills, using various weapons to defend himself, including stabbing, striking, impaling, and using explosives. While Harry is the last person standing in the church, outside, Valentine and Gazelle are observing the chaos. Valentine explains that the SIM card signal induces aggressive behavior in those implanted with it. With a gun, he shoots Harry in the head, leaving Eggsy, who is watching from a distance, in shock and horror. Eggsy then returns to Arthur's tailor shop for a meeting and reveals that Harry had secretly recorded Valentine's confession. To honor Harry, Eggsy pours a drink, and he notices the implant scar beneath Arthur's ear, indicating that Arthur is also aligned with Valentine. It becomes clear that Valentine's ultimate goal is to use the SIM cards to trigger mass genocide, reducing the world's population to combat climate change, as he views humanity as a virus. Arthur raises a glass to Harry, and they both drink. However, Arthur's attempt to poison Eggsy fails because Eggsy had swapped their drinks while diverting Arthur's attention. Armed with this crucial information, Eggsy rushes to Merlin and Roxy, and together, they set out to thwart Valentine's sinister plans. Roxy is sent into space using 2 large balloons to launch a missile at one of Valentine's satellites, while Merlin and Eggsy infiltrate Valentine's headquarters during a party for participants in his scheme. Eggsy seizes the opportunity to impersonate Arthur for entry, passing by Princess Tilda's cell along the way. Eggsy jokingly asks for a kiss if he saves the world, to which he agrees. Meanwhile, Roxy reaches the satellite, but one of her balloons ruptures due to the high altitude. Nevertheless, she successfully launches the missile before the other balloon breaks, causing her to plummet to Earth. She deploys her parachute in time, landing safely. Suddenly, Charlie appears, holding a knife to Eggsy's throat, but Eggsy uses an electric ring to subdue him. Eggsy then races back to the plane, avoiding and eliminating Valentine's gunmen. The missile hits Valentine's satellite, temporarily delaying the signal. However, Valentine gains control of another nearby satellite and activates the signal with a biometric scanner, which Merlin cannot bypass. The signal goes live worldwide, leading to chaos and violence in various cities. Merlin activates the implants, causing the heads of everyone, including gunmen and world leaders, to explode like fireworks. Eggsy confronts Valentine and Gazelle, disrupting the transmission. They engage in a fight, and Eggsy injures Gazelle with a poisoned shoe. He eventually tears one of her legs off and uses it to kill Valentine. With Valentine defeated, all signals are permanently disabled. Eggsy is praised by Merlin and Roxy for saving the world. He then fulfills his promise to Princess Tilda and shares an intimate moment with her. In a final scene before the credits, Michelle and Dean are at a tavern. Eggsy, now in a nice suit, informs Michelle that his new job has provided them with privileges, including a new home. Dean's thugs confront Eggsy, but he retorts with Harry's mantra, "Manners maketh man," and uses an umbrella to strike Dean before the movie ends. If you are interested in such films, please proceed to the next video on the screen, and also share your thoughts about this film in the comments. Give us a like and subscribe. Goodbye.